everyone, it's Anya here. I'm back with another video for Ophelia Crafts. Now this is the card we're going to make today. Now the idea for this card came from Stampin' Up themselves. As demonstrators we get a magazine and every 2 months, and in there are some tips and tricks but also some example cards. So actually I'm just looking at the card and it says all the colours that it was made in and everything, but I just made this by looking at it basically and using the things that I've got, using the inks that I have and using the cards that I have, and so I sort of cased it from Stampin' Up by just looking at the picture and using the things that you've got. I already had the stamp set because first of all it's photopolymer, so I like that anyway, but also I like houses. And I particularly like these ones because they look really nice, and this is supposed to be sort of holiday home. It's supposed to be a Christmas set, but to be honest you can use it for a new home, for Halloween, birthday cards, even for male birthday cards. Why not? You know, you can create a little scene with the lamppost here. So a lot of things you can do with this. And what I find great about this is it's two-step stamping, so you can add the spider, you can add a face to your pumpkin, things like that. So a very nice stamp set. And for this card, for this particular card, we're going to use the house, the trees and the leaves and the pumpkin. The pumpkin I have already stamped and cut out, so that's ready for us to use. What I also did to create the hills, I have for this one I cut out ovals. So I used the oval framelets, the third one from the outside, so 1, 2, 3, the third one. So I used that one just to cut ovals out of scraps of paper. I've got some of these left here, so these were from this card, from the same ovals, and I had to cut another one because I managed not to do it very well, so I had to tear it all apart and start over, but I've got it down to a T now, well, hopefully. So I've just cut out a new one. So this is the piece of paper that we're going to be mounting our house on. Then we have this, and then we have these two, and then I just cut it to size. So I think what I should do to start with is just about at the same height here. Yeah, is that about the same height? I will hold it there and I'm just going to cut along the edge of the card, and then I know that where to glue it down in a moment, because it's not so easy to see it when the whole oval is on the piece of card. You don't know where the card ends. So that's that. Then we have this one and this one, and these can still be sort of jiggled about a bit, and I'll cut them off later. Okay, so, and then this one can go up as well if I wanted to, because nothing is lost yet, because obviously the house is going to have to go onto there. As long as it covers the end of the card, that's fine. So first of all, let's start with stamping our house. Yes, so I got the stamp set with the framelets for the houses as well, of course. You know, I had to have the houses and the framelets. So I'm going to be stamping the house in Tuxedo Black in Memento, just because it's an ink that doesn't run when you then start filling in bits. Okay, so let's put it down. There we go. And we'll do another one for good measure. I always like doing two. Maybe I need it, you never know. Generally when I make cards I'll always make two. So when I was casing this card last night, I already was cutting things for this video, so that made it a little bit easier for me to get started on this video today. Okay, so we are now ready to start colouring, and what I need is crumb cake, a little bit of basic grey, And what I did, I took my re-inker of the crumb cake and I put a drop in there, because I think in the magazine it said they used early espresso and I don't have that, so I thought, what if I just use a lot of crumb cake? That might turn into early espresso. Wishful thinking, of course, but never mind. I tried and it worked. So we're going to put a load of ink on the roof, colouring inside the lines if at all possible, and giving it a little bit of shading by putting some more here and there, and then a lighter bit on the chimney, then here the chimney pot, a bit darker. Okay, and then around the door, quite dark. Of course, you do not have to do this with a brush. I just particularly like brushes and painting like this. You can quite easily do this with blendabilities, colour it in. You could also just leave it plain, or just use some colouring pencils or whatever you've got to hand. That's perfect. And let's put a little bit darker on the windowsills. And this is straight ink I'm using. My brush was wet, but not very. I wiped it off, sort of it was wet to start painting, but nothing more than that. Okay, so now I'm going to get a little bit of water and I'm going to dilute some of this so that I can give the house a light coating. Still trying to avoid, oopsie, the windows, because of course they're going to have a different colour. There we go. And now just give it a rinse, your brush, a wipe, and let's get the, is there a bit of, yeah, there's a little bit in the lid here. So a little bit of water into the grey, just a tiny, not too much colour in there, there's a hair, and let's just colour into the windows, just to give them a bit of a lived-in look. Okay, there we go. There we have it. Yep, that's our house. Our house. Okay, so now what we need to do is cut out the house. So let me bring in the Big Shot. I'm not putting it on my piece of paper there. And so you have it on just closed. You put your pad in, then you line up your house. Do be careful because you're very easily offline here, so you need to make sure you line it up really well, and then you put your cutting pad on and off we go, and we roll it through. Ah, that's the sound I like to hear. There we go. Let's put this out of the picture. Let's get this, and let's put this away as well. Okay, so we have here one house. Okay, so let's see what we need to do now. Let's do some stamping, shall we? So we have our front, we have our mountains or our hills, whatever, and we can mount them like this, and the house is going to be there. So we need to make sure that the trees are in the right place. How are we going to do that? By putting a little mark. Or maybe what I could do actually, last night I just drew around there, and then later on when I mounted the card I just put the hill over it. But to be honest, what I could do now is just indicate it on my on my paper. So that's sort of where I need to keep my tree. So I've got the tree here. I'm going to stamp the tree in crumb cake. And there's sort of one on this side. Yes, maybe it would be easier if I took this one off as well. And there's one on that side, a whole one, and then we've got one just about there. Okay, so the house will be about there. Yep, that's perfect. Then we have these little tiny little leaves here. So what I did, I had my crumb cake, my Hello Honey. Yes, so in the book they use different colours. They use saffron and pumpkin pie. I don't have those colours, so you try and use what you've got. So I thought I would use crumb cake, Hello Honey and Tangelo Twist. So what I did here was I inked up in crumb cake and I just stamped, didn't re-ink, didn't clean, just stamped it again in, inked it up in, didn't clean, sort of inked it halfway up in whatever, in Tangelo Twist, and then so bits of colour stay behind. I mean, you will get a little bit of your ink getting, you know, into the ink pad, but to be honest, it's only a tiny amount. There we go, see? And then the house will go like that. Perfect. Okay, so let me just clean off this block here, because I'm going to mount on there the sentiment that we're going to use. So let's see what we need to do now. I think what we should do is create our mat here so that it's ready to be mounted onto the card. So let's put this one on, just so that it covers the starts of the tree. If I could only find, yes, my glue, that would be handy, of course. Okay, so that one on. Then we're going to put this one in this direction and that one in this direction. And this one was up onto dimensionals, so we'll do that as well. Get a couple of dimensionals. And there's my pumpkin ready. There. What I now did was, let's just cut along the piece of paper so we get rid of the edges here. Actually, I didn't even notice there was a description of how to make this card, so I'll have to read it and see if I'm right. It's quite funny actually, noticing that while I'm filming. And then let's put the house on. We're going to put dimensionals on the house. And let's put a dimensional on the pumpkin, but I'm going to cut up a thing here, just so that it's nice and small, to go onto the pumpkin and to go onto the chimney, because otherwise it might be a little bit fragile if we don't support that. No, actually they're just saying what it was made out of, so no instructions on how to do that, so that's good. Right, so the pumpkin, I think this could be up a bit. Yeah, let's put the house up a bit, and then the pumpkin goes next to the house like that. There we go. Is it skewing? That's okay. And then I have a little bit of twine here, and we're going to just wrap that round and tie it. No, not 3 times, just the 2. Let's just put it round and let's tie a knot and a bow. A bow. Do you think we can manage a bow on camera? Bow. Okay. And, ooh, no, this is not going to be long enough. So let's pull that back and again, and pull it back. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we have a bow. We have a bow. There we go. Okay, so that's our decorative mat done. This is now going to be mounted on dimensionals and then onto the card. There we go, and one in the middle. I always put one sort of around the twine because then at least the twine's got something to hold it down. Fold the card, bone folder, and let's put it on there. We need to stamp the inside and we are done. Now I have to say, making it the second time, it has not taken as long as it... Oh, no, wait, do not put this down. Step away from putting it up. We have got to do the sentiment. Now, it says on this, from our home to yours at Christmas time, but of course on the example card they only used to our home, from our home to yours, and they didn't do at Christmas. So what I did, I inked it up, then I took a wet wipe, wrapped it around my finger, and I wiped away the ink at Christmas time. And the ink on the rest of the block as well. So, making sure there's no ink on the at Christmas time, I now am going to stamp it down. Okay, it's not straight on the block, and I'm going to see that I can do it straight. There we go. So it doesn't, nothing else was stamped. So from our home to yours, and then under there I'm going to place my prepared mat. There we go. One more thing. Inside we have, I'll do some more leaves, I think. What I'll do is I'll just stamp them. Let me just clean it off, because there's some ink on the block there. What I'll do is I'll stamp the leaf several times, just with crumb cake. Then I'll get this one, and in the corner here, yep, and then we'll get the Tangelo twist, and then we've stamped a border. There we go, and we'll have to do some more. There we go, that's sort of mixing colours. There we are. We've got some leaves going down the side of our card, and let's put some glue on and put this inside our card. Nice and straight. There we go. So, right, from my home to yours, via tutorials on YouTube, I present to you Stampin' Up's holiday home card. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. please do